Hello and welcome everyone to today's sharing session. My name is Krista Goon and I'm from Redbox Studio. So in today's sharing, I'll be talking about how you can leverage your website and how to truly make the best out of your website to grow your business and brand. So without much further ado, let's get started. So when we're talking about websites, we're talking about how we want to use our websites better so that they can help us grow our business, which means that help us attract better customers, better prospects, and overall grow our business. So in this session, you will learn 3 important website principles that will help you in your marketing efforts, and also smarter ways to use your website to achieve business goals, as well as the 5 best practices that you can use to improve your own website. So before we get started, I want to briefly introduce myself. My name is Krista Goon from Redbox Studio. And what we do at Redbox Studio is that we help entrepreneurs get known, trusted, and profitable. And how do we do that? So what we do is we develop websites and e-commerce that's really focused on marketing. We also provide communication services, which includes content strategy, planning and creation, website copywriting, audio and video. And finally, we also, because of our slant on marketing, we also provide consultation, strategy, and training. So this is in a nutshell what we do. We've been around since 1998. So we've been around in the web development field for a long time. But our focus is really not so much about web development, but how to use the website as a better marketing tool. Now, these are some of the reviews and also comments from people who have attended our trainings as well as from our own clients. So as you can see, many of our activities or events revolve around teaching and training people how to do better marketing. And in this case, we do have 2 products right now in our company that we use to do so. One, of course, is our book. We produced this book in 2016 to help entrepreneurs understand really how to make better use of their website. And at the same time, we also created a card game for entrepreneurs to play, but it's not so much playing, but more of understanding how business really works and what kinds of elements or what kinds of contributing factors that will enable them to become better entrepreneurs in running their businesses. Some of the things that I've done in the past include giving talks about marketing. And these are some of the events that I've been involved with, from speaking at Keto to being invited to speak at certain events organized by GBG as well as by SME Corp. So most of the time when I get invited to speak, we'll be talking about entrepreneurship. I will be talking about marketing, and more importantly, I'll be talking about how people can better use their digital assets. Besides teaching and talking about marketing, I also have my own podcast for women entrepreneurs named womenpreneurs.asia.com. So if you want to listen to some of my episodes, I'm right now into season 2 and working on season 3 actually. You can go to this website to listen to some of the episodes. And you can also listen to these episodes on any of your favorite podcast app or player. The other thing that I do, and I've been doing since the pandemic lockdown last year, is that I'm hosting our own Facebook Live series where we cover a number of business and marketing related topics, where I bring on a guest every 2 weeks to talk about something that will be beneficial to the entrepreneurs out there. And if you want to look at this or watch this Facebook live streams, you can go to our Facebook pages at fb.com/Redbox Studio. And of course, I get invited also to talk. And as you can see, again, most of my topics revolve around business, marketing, as well as websites. And besides that, besides running a business and besides talking and teaching and training, I'm also the co-founder of Women Sense, a women entrepreneur association in Penang since 2006. Other than that, I'm also on the board of the IABC Malaysia, which is a business communicators association. I'm also a director at Penang Women's Development Corporation, and I co-founded a book adoption center, which is Malaysia's one and only book adoption center that has raised more than 150,000 ringgit for charity since 2016. So I'm really particularly proud of this book adoption center because we are really using the concept of reusing books, but at the same time, giving people a chance to donate and contribute to charity. Okay, so now that you know a little bit about me, I would like to start with the first part of what I was talking about just now, which is how do you leverage your website, right? So there are 3 website principles that you absolutely must know before you get started. And this is something that a lot of people may not even know. And a lot of people don't know this. And because if you don't know these principles, it's very hard to market online. It's very hard to get results online if you don't have any principles to guide you. So this is what we have come up after 23 years in this industry, after working with countless clients, after talking to countless clients who ask us about websites and what it takes to actually create a really marketing friendly website. So the first one is your website is your headquarters and the final destination for your marketing activities. So what this means is this: whatever you do online, whatever ad, whatever promotion, whatever you say out there online, or whether even if it's online or offline, you must remember that at the end of the day, you must draw the people, interested people, back to your website. So this is the most important principle. If there's only one principle that you take away from today's sharing session, is this: please remember this number one principle is that your website must absolutely be the final destination for everything that you do online, okay? And why is this so? Because as you can see from this graphic, is that at the end of the day, we want people to get to a place where they can find out more about us and our business and what we do and what we offer, especially. So for instance, if you are on social media like Facebook, or if you're someone searching for you, or you're just advertised online or even offline, right? You advertise online, offline, or you have referrals or partners who are referring people to you, or you have media writing about you, or not even that, maybe you will have your own webinars or videos or articles or even podcasts like myself. Eventually, at the end of the day, you must make them come back to your HQ. So your HQ is a better place than any of your social media pages because there's less noise and people can really focus and concentrate on what you can offer them. So this is a very important principle to bear in mind, because I see a lot of people out there who are doing marketing, but they're always leading people back to their social media pages, which is great, right? But do not forget, social media is a very, very crowded space, and people may get distracted. They may not find what you want them to find, and it's not as easy to navigate as a website. So a lot of these things have to be taken into consideration when you're thinking of, should I draw my prospects back to my Facebook page, or should I draw them to my website? If in doubt, always go back to your website. But of course, then you may say, but there's really nothing on my website to offer these people. Now, that is where we need to start, right? So why don't you have anything to offer people on your website? So the question now comes back to us, like, what should we have on the website so that people will go there and really find what they are looking for? So at the end of the day, if there's only one thing that you need to do is to always remember this. Whatever you're doing offline, online, you must bring the people back to your HQ, which is your website. Okay, now the next thing is that, of course, what happens, and why is your website HQ, right? Because it is the best place for prospects to know, like, and trust you. Because that's the place where they get to know about your story. That's the place where they get to find out more about what you do, what you offer, what you can help them with. That's the place where you can also make them believe in you. Okay. And finally, at the end of it, if your website does all these things very well, make people know, like, and trust you, eventually they will buy from you. So it's just this. Of course, I've made it a little simpler for you to understand. But I just wanted you to focus on this fact that on your website is the best place for you to convince and persuade prospects that you're the best person to do business with. Now, I'm going to give you an example of one of our clients. This is Dr. Somaskanda. He is a doctor at GMC Penang, and this is his website. So in his website, right away, you know he is a gynecologist, because right on this is the homepage, you will see his face. And at the same time, you will see what he can help you with, right? So this is a place for you to start creating those warm, fuzzy feelings that people can trust you, people can know you, okay? Maybe they don't know you yet, but because they come here and they see that, okay, there's a photo of the person, there's, things that I can get from this specific website, I would like to discover more, I would like to browse more. And the other thing that we really like to do for websites is this. We like to drill into the business owner story. So in this case, Dr. Somas, of course, is the gynecologist, but he also is a human being, like all of us, right? So we decided to really give him ways to show that he's just a regular person like you and I, but maybe he's a doctor. So one of the things that we came up with was we found out that he could salsa. So we used that as a headline on his website. And this about page that you're looking at is really a way for us to tell website visitors that he is a really friendly doctor. He is a doctor that cares, but he's also a doctor who can have fun, because which doctor do you know that can salsa and can happily and proudly put that on the website? So this is where we are really talking about giving people opportunity to know you and to get to know you so that eventually they will want to do business with you, right? So when you're looking at your own website, ask yourself, am I showing up the best way on my website? Am I telling people a story about myself that others can really connect with? So if you really don't have a story right now, you really have to look for that story, because people really buy from people. I've heard this many, many times. Are you in a B2B business, B2C business? And I say at the end of the day, we're all in human to human business, because we all sell to other humans. It doesn't matter how you put it, but at the end of the day, I will buy from someone that I know, like, and trust. Okay? So if you don't have a story yet, go back and look into your website and see what can you put into your website that can make people get to know you better. Now, the second one is your website must be visible and credible. Okay? And what do I mean by that? Now, remember Dr. Somas? So this is still his website, but this is another page, right, on his website where we have put in case studies. Remember I told you he was a gynecologist? So he has patients that have come to him and they have had trouble conceiving, had had trouble becoming pregnant, but because he helped them, he has case studies to present and show to you. So case studies actually create a lot of trust. And if you have a case study with photos, it creates even more trust. So in your own business, what can you showcase to create that trust in your website? Because when people come to your website, they don't know you yet. Okay, they may have read your story, but they still don't know you yet, right? So what can you do to help them trust you even further? So this is one way, case studies with photos. The second one is if you have logos of awards or any reputable associations that people know about, that can also create trust. For instance, Berjaya Pack is one of our clients, and on their homepage itself, we list down the awards that they've won, and they've won some pretty good awards in the last 5 years. And they're also probably associated with a number of associations. So we call it out on the front page and the homepage because we want people to know that they're really a reputable company. So if you have any logos, any awards they've won, anything that can engender more trust, put them on your website. Of course, as I mentioned just now, this is my book that I co-authored with my business partner and husband, Nick. And reviews are also very important because before people buy your product, they need to know, is it good? What have other people said about it? What have other people, what do other people recommend? What do they think about it? So if you have reviews, especially if you're in the product-based business and if you have reviews, please remember to put those reviews on your website because they definitely will create a lot of trust. And especially if you can put the person's real name. Like in this case, these are the real people who have given us reviews. Alexandra Wong, she herself is a famous columnist for The Star and author of her own book. There's another author also, Rebecca Loke, who's also author of her own book. So if I'm an author, I probably would like to get reviews from other authors, right? So these are some of the things that you must start thinking, especially if you're selling products. Another thing is that you can also create a lot of trust if you have ratings, plus images, plus reviews. So I took this from the Oxwhite website. I'm sure many of you know this Malaysian brand. And so they are very clever in the sense that they encourage their buyers to post in the clothes that they've bought from Oxwhite and put up not only the ratings, but their reviews. And, a lot of times we really love looking at photos, right? So photos really help us become more credible in the eyes of our prospects. And the other thing that most people do not really think about, but is very important, is that clear, easy to understand content creates trust. So this is something that most people don't talk about, but if your content is easy to understand, if your content makes sense, really it raises your credibility a notch. So if right now the content on your website doesn't really tell people anything about what you do or what you offer, go back and review that content and see where you can improve so that you can make it clearer and easier to understand. And when you can do that, it actually creates a lot more trust towards your business and your brand. And this is a big one, right? So being found easily in Google search results creates trust. So a lot of times people really want to be ranked on Google, and especially on the first page. So this is a search term that I keyed in, laparoscopic surgeon in Penang. And this is the first page of Google search results. And on the, let's see, I think this is the fourth and fifth result are the results from our client, penangsurgeon.com. And of course, it is the website of this particular doctor, Dr. Khoo Setiam. And this again creates massive amounts of trust because if Google thinks you're good enough to be found, then your prospects will think, wow, this is not too bad, a website and a business, right? So if you're really thinking of, okay, what's the easiest way? Well, it's not exactly the easiest way, but actually one of the best ways is actually to be found on Google. So if you want to find out more, you definitely can take a look at our book. But don't worry, I'll give you more tips as we go along so that you know how you can improve. So because at the end, I'm going to give you some best practices that you can use to improve your website. So like I said, this is Dr. Khoo's website. So he has not only logos of the medical associations that he is a member of, but there's also his face on the front of the website. And he talks about himself as a surgeon at Lamoi Hospital. And the third principle is that your website must offer value to website users. So this is really an important part of being online. A lot of people don't drive traffic to their website because their website doesn't have any value. And this is really sad because you just can't put up a website and not offer any value, because then where do you drive your prospects to, right? So I want to give an example from my own blog. So this is my own blog. It's called The Soup Queen because I started this blog due to my passion for soups, Chinese herbs, and traditional Chinese medicine. So in this particular blog, I write about soups, I write about things related to soups and food. Anything to do with health and things that I really particularly find fascinating, I'll put it in my blog. So why do I use my own blog as an example? Because I want to show you, right, that good content that has value will get you the eyeballs. So this is some statistics that I pulled up from my dashboard of my blog. So as you can see, all these are articles, or what we call blog posts on my blog. And on the right-hand side, you will see the number of people who have looked at it or read it, right? So my most popular article is this article titled Tang Kui for Replenishing Blood. Tang Kui is a herb. It's 37.9K people have looked at it, okay, followed by the rest. But this, to me, is not just to show you that, how much of eyeballs I'm getting, but it's to show you that if you can write original, good quality, high quality content, people will come naturally to your blog or website because people will find you on Google, okay? I have rarely promoted this blog because it's just a way for me to record the recipes, the herbs that I know of, the herbs that I find out more. But as you can see from this page here, is that I've been getting a really huge number of views for each of the articles that I put up. And each of these articles are original and 100% written by me. And you can see also that I've amassed more than 1 million views of my blog. I started it, I think, 2001, 2002 or something like that. And over the years, I've gotten that many views. And I don't really have a lot of posts. We call articles or posts. As you can see here, I only have 210 posts. Okay, 210 articles. I only have 432 comments. I only have 109 followers. But look at the all-time. I have 1 million over views, and daily I have at least 100 people coming to my blog. And this month itself I have 5,000 over visits to my blog to read the articles I have on my blog. And last one was about 4,877. So on the average, I have about 4,000 to 5,000 views of my articles. So this is great because this also shows that good quality content really attracts people. And of course, I also pulled up the last 12 months. The last 12 months, about 66.6K. Yeah, so these are some of the stats. I just wanted to prove to you that if you have high quality, good quality content, people will naturally come and find your content. Okay, or Google will actually help you get your content seen out there. Okay, so now let's look into what are some of the smarter ways to use your website to achieve your business goals, right? So this is what we are here for, right? To understand how can we use this knowledge to help us all in our business. Now, first of all, we want to get prospects to come to us. So I've summarized it into this 6 steps, right? First is the awareness stage. The prospects need to be aware of you. They need to see your ad. They need to get your business card. They need to hear of you, or they even like Google you, right? So this is the awareness stage. And then after awareness, maybe they're a little bit interested. So they come and they check you out on your social media, your FB, IG, YouTube, or wherever, or even your website. And to decide if you're the real deal, or to decide if, they can really trust you. And then when they decide or realize that they might probably follow you, right? So they will follow you on social media and they will see what you're up to. And then after that, maybe they come to your website and they see that you've got some really good stuff going on. You offer them really good value and you're really genuine. And so they decide to connect with you further. So how do they connect with you further? Is that they sign up for the mailing list because they're interested in your lead magnet. Lead magnet is something that maybe a download that you give them. Or they may even reach out to you on their own. They may even email you, or they may call you, or they may just, DM you, right? So that's the connect part, which is step 4. After that comes your responsibility. When they have decided to reach out to you, means it is time for you to help them. So in this case, you can educate them. You can educate them via videos, webinars, or articles, through email, through sending them WhatsApp, or even through social media. So this is the chance for you to prove who you are and what you can do for them. And the other higher level, I would say the highest level, is actually to curate. Because out there right now, there's so much information. There's so many things out there. They may want to follow you for tips on strategies or things that they feel that you are the best person, the expert, to help them. So in your expert status, you need to curate means pre-select the best for them, saving them the arduous pain of research, comparison, and decision making. So people come to you because you're the expert. People come to you because you know best and you can advise them best. So getting prospects to come to you generally follows this pathway. Okay, so if you can take this to heart, then you know that at step 5 and 6, this is where you have a chance and you have an opportunity to help them get closer to you, and at the same time let you help them. Okay, so to put it visually, this is how generally your marketing online would be like. So when people find you on GMB, stands for Google My Business. Okay, so they find you on the left side. You see there's the Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook page, YouTube, ads, Google search. So this is how people find you, how they are aware of you, and how they follow you. And after that, you must take them to the website. You must take them to the website or even to a landing page, because this is the chance for you to turn that interest into action, which means that you are connecting with them, right? And after that, what do you do? Of course, you need to have a way to connect with them after they've left your website. So hopefully you have given them a reason to sign up for either your mailing list or to be in touch with you, where you can continue to nurture and add value to them by educating and curating the best that you can for these people. And you may also want to lead them to specific webinars, videos, articles, or audio in this case would be something like a podcast, like the one that I mentioned about my own podcast, Mompreneur Asia. And eventually, if they're the right prospects, if they're the right people and they need your services or products, they eventually become your customer. So that becomes a sale, right? So this is really the marketing part. There's really really nothing that's so complex about it. But we must know that at every stage of this, moving them to becoming your customer, of course, it takes time and it takes effort. And of course, it takes educating. So of course, one of the things that you can do, of course, is when they get to your website is get them to subscribe to your newsletter if you have one. Okay. So this is something that I pulled up from online just to show you that this is how people do it. You can just tell them, subscribe to our newsletter. This is my website, womenprenneurasia.com, where I would also encourage people, if they want to get updates and to know when I release a new episode of my podcast, they can put their name and email, then I will email them when a new episode is released. So this is also how I keep them updated on what's happening with my podcast and what episodes are coming out, or especially what announcements I'm making. Another way you can use this is that you can give people something that's free, which means that this one is from a real estate website I pulled up. It's called Avoid These Costly Mistakes When Selling Your Home. Get a free guide. Preparation and the key to a successful home sale. Be aware of the mistakes that will cost you money. So what you do is you put your email address down here, and then you can click and get the guide. So this is something free. So in your own business, can you do this? Can you give people some information that is valuable to them and can help them, right? So this is one way. Another one is, this is also a resource guide for real estate. It's called Habits of Successful Agents. From this download title, you know that it is for agents in real estate who want to be successful, right? So you can also offer something like this and get people to leave their name and email address and just right away download the guide. So you can do this. One of the things that why I'm pulling up a lot of these real estate examples is that I recently did a talk for real estate agents on marketing. And of course, there's also this one, which is an American site called Redfin. So what they offer is they offer an instant home value estimate. And you can sign up for a free home report. So just, again, follow this, enter the street address, and they'll probably at the end, they ask for your email so that they can send you the free home report based on your street address. So these are some of the ways that you can actually use in your own business. So be creative, think about some ways that you can use to offer people something of value that they want. Now, this one is another interesting one. It's just a website that talks about find out how much weight you can lose with a keto diet. So this also allows you to find out more from your perspective. For instance, if I am undergoing or I'm thinking of undergoing a keto diet, I would like to find out more. So if I'm a woman, I'll click here because they ask to select your gender, click here, or if you're a man, click here, and they'll lead you through finding out more about whether the keto diet is maybe suitable for you, or maybe how much weight can you expect to lose if you're undergoing the keto diet, right? So this is also something that prospects may want if you're in the health or dieting business. Another thing that most people forget is that on their website, you must give people a chance to take the final action. Okay, so final action could always default to contact us today, right? So this is a client's website where she offers hospitality and tourism solutions. So she encourages people to contact her. So contact her could be drop her an email or even call her directly because she has a phone number. Another one is a client of ours. And this one is that sometimes people get confused, right? They're not too sure which insurance coverage plans are best for them. So again, they encourage people to talk to them. So which means if you click this, you can either email them or give them a call to find out more about your insurance needs. So at the end of it, remember that your website has to have an objective and a goal of getting people to contact you, or even not contacting you, but maybe leaving you their name and email so they can further communicate with them. And then this is something I wanted to mention is that if you're thinking like, okay, if I want to write content, because remember I showed you my blog, The Soup Queen, if I want to write content, what kinds of content should I write that fits my prospects' needs? So I want to show you an example. So this one, I just Google up seaweed soup. And of course, what came up was Korean seaweed soup, right? That's the first search result that I saw. But underneath that, these days, if you notice, there's also this other section where people also ask, right? So then you have how healthy is seaweed soup, why Koreans eat seaweed soup on their birthday, is seaweed soup good for the body, and what does seaweed soup mean in Korean? So this is actually very good because this tells you what people are asking. Now, if you are selling seaweed soup, you should be writing articles that answers all these questions. If you can write articles that answers all these questions, Google will definitely be very happy to pull up your website the next time someone is looking for seaweed soup, right? So this is just one of those reverse engineering ways for you to understand how content actually works online. Okay, a lot of people say that, oh, you must insert keywords and you must do this and you must do that. And I can tell you this from my years and years of experience in developing and writing for a website is that at the end of the day, we just want answers when we go to Google. So if your website, your blog can provide those answers, you will definitely get ranked. And my blog, The Soup Queen, has actually proven that over and over again. Okay. So another way that you can also look at is this. Scroll to the bottom of the page. Remember just now we were looking for seaweed soup? At the bottom, there's related searches. So there's more clues for you right now on what you can write about or what you can talk about in your website. It's like, well, seaweed soup meaning is one of the things that people are searching for. Seaweed soup benefits is also another big thing that people are looking for. Japanese seaweed soup, Korean seaweed soup benefits, chicken seaweed soup, and all these things. Basically, Google is telling you these are what people really want to know about. So in your case, if you're producing content, start writing articles related to all this search so that you can be ranked high up on Google. Okay, so this is a tip for you. And this is golden because many people will not tell you. This is actually one of the easiest and simpler ways to actually get ranked. Okay, now we've come to the final part, which is the 5 best practices you can use to improve your own website. Okay, so remember this chart or this visual that I showed you just now. So how people find you, and then of course you must lead them to your website. Why you need to lead them to your website? Because you want them to leave their name and email, or at least have the opportunity to find out more about you and contact you. And of course, later you need to continue to educate and curate information for the people who have decided to follow you. So I would like to reiterate once more that you have to drive people from your social media or even offline. If people meet you and say, hey, where can I find more information about this particular product? Always lead them to your website for the latest information. But you'll probably say, but I don't have the latest information on my website. That's where you need to update your website first with the latest information so that anytime any prospect, any customer goes to your website, they will find the latest information. So this also means that you really have to manage and take care of your website and do a really regular housekeeping and pruning of content as well as information so that when people go to your HQ, when they go to your website, they will find the latest information and not some outdated information from 2016 or even, older than that, right? Another thing is offer something useful and relevant to your web users when they reach your website. So remember just I was telling you about the video, even the articles, or even audio, right? Like a podcast. So you must offer people something useful and relevant because otherwise they will not hang around your website. Otherwise, they will not know what you're offering at all. So right now is a good chance for you to ask yourself, are you offering something useful? Are you offering something relevant? Okay, so if you're not, you really got to think hard. What can you offer to them? Remember just now we talked about reviews and testimonials. Well, now's the time for you to get those reviews and testimonials and feature them across your website to build further proof. Remember, we said that the principle was to be visible and credible. So credibility starts from at least putting some reviews or some testimonials on your website and making sure that people know that you're credible, because people only want to do business with people who are credible and trustworthy. So if you're telling me that right now I don't have any reviews or testimonials, then you have to ask your present customers or your current customers, okay? Go and ask them for their reviews or their testimonials. Even short ones will do, but at least, they have to be on your website to show people that you're the real deal. And on your website, you must offer people an easy way to try or test or sample what you have, right? So here are some of the things that you can do on your website. You can ask them to call in for a free 30-minute, no obligation discussion, or just find out more about what they need. You can offer them a discount coupon so that if they do come back, especially we run an e-commerce store, we do come back, they get maybe a 10% off the next purchase. Or you can offer them free downloads. Remember, just now I showed you there were a couple of free downloads that you could offer. Well, start putting on your creative thinking caps and think of what you can offer the people who come to your website. And of course, exclusive content access. So this means that there's certain content that's not available to others, but available to people who come to your website if they signed up or if they want to know more about certain things. But you put this content in a way that is gated, meaning that they don't easily access it, but they can only access it if they give their name and email. Okay, so that's one way. The other thing is you must communicate regularly with people who have signed up to hear from you. Okay, and of course, the easiest way is via email. You can use WhatsApp if you want, but email is still one of the most preferred modes of communicating with people. And because if you have gotten their name and emails through your website, I think it's just okay. It's just like a good way for you to keep that conversation going by going back to email and emailing them and regularly just sending perhaps even things that will be relevant to them, tips, strategies, things that they could be interested in. So in your emails, one of the things I also want to say is that please steer clear of always promoting your products and services, because we get too much of that anyway. So in your email, try to be a genuine person, a human being, by sending good quality stuff to the people who have signed up to hear from you. Otherwise, they unsubscribe. So finally, I hope that this presentation has been useful. I hope that you have found some nuggets in this presentation. If you have any questions, you have anything that you want to ask, you want to know about, you can always email me. I'm at krista@redboxstudio.com, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook. And of course, feel free to visit our website, redboxstudio.com. And finally, get an introduction and chapter 1 for free when you visit webwisdombook.com today. And I just want to mention that chapter 1 of my book includes the 10 common mistakes that most websites make. And I also tell you how you can fix those mistakes. So I hope this presentation has shown you some different ways that you can really make use of your website and to make sure that you really get the best out of it. Because there is really no point having a website and leaving it to languish and then sending all your prospects to your social media. So that's where I believe that if we can all make full use of our websites, we will definitely grow our business and brand. So thank you so much for being a great audience. And I hope that you have some questions for me, and you please put them in the chat, or even unmute yourself to ask your questions. So thank you so much for listening to today's presentation. Thank you. listening to today's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Krista, for the amazing presentation. And I personally must mention that I'm impressed by your career path. Actually, I didn't know even about the Association of Women Entrepreneurs. So after the session, I'll go and check that. The first thing, thank you so much.
Listening to today's presentation. Thank you.
And we have a few of the questions here. Thank you so much, Krista, for the amazing presentation. And I personally must mention that I'm impressed by your career path. The first question, Ms. Krista, is how long it takes to build a website that at least has 100 daily tractions?
Okay. So how long does it take, right?
Yes.
You say how long does it take? Okay. So I can give you, I wouldn't call it a hack, but I would say that if right now you're thinking of getting your business known out there, I think the key thing is if it has to be just 3 pages, let it be 3 pages, right? It doesn't have to be a full-fledged website. So full-fledged to me means that it has pages like home, about, contact, products, services, and all those other things that usually you get in a website, including FAQ, right? But you really have to do it the down and dirty way, which means that it's a real quick way of getting it done. Have maybe even 3 to 4 pages. Okay, the first one you definitely have is a home page, right? Second, have an about page, because I think that after the home page, the next most visited page is actually the about page. An about page is where you get to really shine, especially if you can draw out a very good story of why you're in the business. Because right now, people are always talking about why, right? Why are you in business? Why are you doing this, right? You can't simply wake up one day and decide to be in business. So why are you in business? And so use your about page to the maximum after your homepage to talk about yourself, to talk about what you can do for the people that you want to serve. And then, of course, have one page. Don't forget the products or services, because that's what they come to see, right? They must have something to know about you. Like, what do you offer? Do you offer consultancy? Do you offer training? Do you offer, coaching? Or do you offer, makeovers? What do you do? So try to make it as complete as possible. And of course, the other one is contact. You must not forget to have a contact page. So on your contact page, and here's a tip, try to put your phone number, because sometimes people may say to email you, but you may not get an email, right? So if you don't have a number, or if you don't have a phone number they can contact, you may probably have lost that contact forever, or the prospect forever. So make sure you have your contact number somewhere. But if you have to get really simple, I mean, these are the 4 pages that I really, really recommend you have. And, do the best you can with these 4 pages. Once you get more, how should I say it, your business is growing, you can start adding more. I mean, you don't really have to, start with like 20 pages or so.
Thank you so much, Ms. Krista, for your answer. Very informative. We have another question. Krista says, as entrepreneurs in the early stage, specifically, most of the entrepreneurs, they feel it's a little bit challenging to create their own website, especially from financial point of view. So they go for the social media as a promoting resources, and they fall then when it gives good results. They fall into the fact that, okay, maybe the website is not that important. So how would you advise them regarding this?
Okay, so these days, if you Google website builder, you can find a ton of free website builders out there. So there's really no excuse for anyone to say, hey, I don't have the money. Don't have money is just one part of the resource, right? These days, you have so much of free resources out there. So try any of those free website builders and get it started. Even if it's one page that just talks about you first. Even in one page, these days, we have that one page where you can have about you, about your products, everything just lump into one page. If that is the only way you can get it done, just get it done first. Because eventually also when you're doing advertising, you need to have your Facebook pixel sit somewhere, right? So it has to sit on your website. So in that case, you really have to start thinking like, how do you put the pieces together so that when you start advertising, you know that your advertising is working. So this is one of the ways that I encourage you. Go and Google the free website builders and get it done. But that's important. Just get it done. Yeah.
This means that literally we have no excuse regarding this.
No. And even these days, or maybe there's one more tip I want to say. Even these days, Google allows you to even create a very simple, very basic website. I think you just got to search for, I think Google Sites or something like that. I think it's back. It used to be taken off, but I think it's back again.
Sure, we will know
Yeah.
that. Thank you so much, Ms. Krista. The second question says, what are the top 3 things we can do to get the traffic to our website?
Okay, so it's just like a shop. If you have a shop, what are top 3 things you're going to get people to your shop, right? First, you have to tell people you have a shop. A lot of people hide that fact. I do not know why. Like if you have a website, put it on your business card. Make sure that people actually know that you have a shop. Okay. Besides putting a business card, what can you do? Put it in your email signature. So every time you send out an email, people know that there's a place that they can refer to, which is your website. Okay. So make sure you promote and tell people. The other thing is when you get your website live and launched, send an email to all your contacts and say, hey, I've got an email. I've got my website up. And this is consider my email launch. So I'm going to tell you that I have a website. So please go and check it out and tell me what you think. And so in your own circle of family, friends, contacts, associates, people you've met along the way, many people will go there, right? And of course, the third way is if you make yourself known out there. So this is where speaking is one way of getting visibility. So if you have opportunities to speak at the end of it, like what I did just now, put your website, big and clear so that people know that there's a place to find you, to contact you if they want to contact you. Of course, there are other methods. For instance, the other method that I would suggest is just go on certain maybe forums, join certain associations, people get to know you, and then you just lead them to your website. And again, leading them to your website means giving them something of value, not just like, hey, come visit my website, but there's nothing on my website to show, right? Yeah.
Very true. Thank you, Krista. So basically, there's another question directly to you. They ask you, which domain and autoresponder do you use?
Okay. So usually I will tell people to just use the .com. Why? Because we are so used to .coms that we don't even ask whether it's a .com or not. So if I say like eBizStart or just say Stravik or even Redbox Studio, I mean, automatically people in your own mind will say, oh, it's a .com, isn't it? So unless it's not a .com, then you have to tell them. But usually try and get a .com. So I would like to tell a little story about when I started my podcast. I had a tough time coming up with a name because, thinking of a name is always difficult anyway for a domain. But when you think of a name, make sure you can find a .com. So I had to figure out a name that I could Google and find something that I wanted similar to, that kind of concept. But at the same time, I had to make sure that I could get the .com so that I could create my website around it. And so it's easy for me to say right now, like, if you want to listen to my podcast, just go to womenprenneurasia.com. And no matter how, they will find it. Yeah. So I think .com is the best.
Perfect. Noted. Thank you, Mr. Then we have another question that says, one of our friends is asking, I'm wondering what kind of language presentation we should use in our website, formal sentences or friendly tone?
I come from corporate comms. When I used to do corporate comms, it's all pretty formal because you're working in a corporation, you're working in a company. But after that, when I have my own business, actually one of the things that unless your company tells you that you have to be very formal, unless a company says, this is our brand, this is our value, don't try to be too chummy with people. But if it's your own business, right, and you're the owner of the business or you're a co-founder, I would always say it's always good to have a very easygoing, kind of relaxed, informal language. Unless, of course, your audience is more formal and they want to see. Okay, for instance, I want to make a caveat here. If you're selling luxury items, you can't go too chummy, right? Because they expect a certain level of prestige and, kinds of words to describe the product that you're selling. But if we're talking about normal everyday stuff, I mean, go ahead and be as natural as you can. Because I think these days, people really gravitate towards people who are more natural and don't sound like they've put on, some accent or, trying to be like someone else. So the reason why we follow people on Instagram and Facebook and all the other channels is because we want to get to know the person. So if you're going to be a person who other people want to get to know, make sure that you are as authentic as you can be. So if you want to be authentic, I think the best way is to write like you speak. But of course, make sure that you are, check your spelling and all that. Doesn't mean you have, all the spelling spelling errors all over the place, but make sure you come off as natural as possible. So that one of the best things is that when people read your website and they meet you and they say, hey, you just sound exactly like you're on the website. And that is actually the best compliment that you can get. It means that what they see, what they read, what they see of you is exactly the same across the board. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for your answer. The next question is, do articles, blogs are helpful to get specific keywords and good ranking in Google?
Yes. You see, there are only three, I would say these days, there are three different formats they can think of, right? I don't know whether there's another format, but you can do audio, which is a podcast. You can do video, which is either YouTube or live streaming, and you can write. And in many cases, after we watch the video, after we listen to a podcast, we go to Google. Just say, I want to buy something, right? I've seen this fantastic video about, just say, okay, yesterday I was shopping for cotton yarn. So after I watched the video on cotton yarn and different kinds of cotton yarn, I want to buy it. So when I want to search for it, I'm actually Googling it. When I Google it, I find the e-commerce site, but I also find different articles. So I may also want to read the articles. So I think one of the good things that you can do, if you can combine all three, fantastic. But if you can't, and if you say you're shy, okay, video is not your thing, and you prefer to write, I think writing still ranks pretty high in terms of Google search and all that. But then again, I could be biased because I'm a content person. I love content. So I love content in all forms. But I still believe that content still has a place. And that's why we need to really focus on good quality content. It depends, because content can be visual too. I mean, it doesn't necessarily be written, but it can be visual, like an infographic, a chart. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Ms. Krista. We have actually briefly two other questions. The first one, asking you for the domain, you buy it from HostGator, I think, or others, even though.com?
Yes, we buy it from different. I mean, domain names you can buy from anyone. I mean, a lot of people buy from GoDaddy and all that, right? So you can buy from lots of different domain providers, but make sure that you get the domain that best represents your business. Don't get a domain that when people listen to it, they don't know what it is about. And that is hard, because then you have to really explain, oh, my website is about this and this and this. So for me, if I tell people my website is womenpreneurasia.com, immediately they get it, because it's about women, it's about entrepreneurs, and it's about Asia. So yeah, so that's also another way of you figuring out. Don't have to explain the long thing to your prospects, but just tell them this is what it is. Yeah.
And the last question, Ms. Krista, is the autoresponder. Is it MailChimp you're using?
Pardon? I didn't hear that. Sorry. I think there's the prayers happening in my place there. Yeah.
About the autoresponder, are you using MailChimp?
I used to use MailChimp, but now I'm using MailerLite. Yeah. And now we're also exploring some options, because there are so many options out there. But the only problem with all these things is, once you use once, you get so used to it that you're a bit lazy to change. So like you kind of get stuck in that thing. Even though a new thing comes along and it's better, but you kind of like, oh no, I got to move all my list over and restart everything again. Yeah. So it's by default we're using MailerLite, but you can try MailChimp and all the other fantastic software out there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Krista, for the amazing session. Very helpful, very informative, and all the tips, obviously, and in the chat, everyone is thanking you. Thank you so much. And this is the end of our session, and hopefully we have you again in other sessions.
Thank you, Hadami. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Same to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for attending our session. And right now I leave the floor to Ms. Vivian. Thank you so much.